Welcome in, Chipola Nation. I'm Donnie Tyndall, head men's basketball coach here at Chipola College. I have two of my young players here with me. On my left, Gerald Colonel, 6'8", 6'9", power forward for us. On my right, Dante Walker. He swears he's 6'6", but we'll give him 6'5" and a half. Wing player here for the Indians. And I'm going to let these guys tell you where they're from, a little bit about their high school background, and maybe what they've achieved so far here at Chipola. Gerald, go ahead.
I'm Gerald Colonel. I'm from Savannah, Georgia. The high school I went to was called Groves High School. Throughout my high school career, we didn't have a gym at all. Like, we didn't have a school for like 3 years. So my freshman year, we had a school. Then for the other 3 years that I was in high school, we was in the middle school. So I graduated from a middle school, basically. And it was rough, but we was called the Roll Rebels. So
did you have a good team your senior year?
We was all right. I want to say we was.
Now, word on the street, don't know this to be factual, Gerald, but word on the street was you led the state of Georgia in rebounding your senior year.
That's correct.
Now, were you playing against high school teams or middle school teams? I give Gerald a hard time, but he's a great player, had an outstanding freshman season for us, started on our team that was #1 in the country for about a month last season, ended up 29-5 and Panhandle champs, and Gerald's being heavily recruited this year as a sophomore. He's been out a little bit with a foot injury, about probably, 2 weeks left, Gerald, 10 days? Next week he should be back. And tell our viewers, a little bit about your injury. You don't have to go too in-depth, but what you had and how it's been in regard to having to sit out over a month now.
I had a Jones fracture in my left foot. It was rough sitting out, but it's bigger than me. I feel like if I can be a leader on the court, help the new guys, show them the way that he taught me when I first got here, that's all that matters.
Well, and Gerald's done an outstanding job of that. He really has. We have pre-practice work for about 30 minutes every day, and we divide up bigs at one end, guards at the other. And Gerald's down there with the big guys just like another assistant coach. He's teaching, he's coaching, he's motivating, and in the film room he adds things. So he's just an outstanding leader, and we expect Gerald to do big things when he gets back here in the next week or two. And here to my right, Dante Walker. Dante's got an interesting story because of the COVID year. He was given an extra year of eligibility like all student athletes across the country. He's been with me from day one and played on 2 Final Four teams, big contributors, 2 state championship teams, big contributor to those teams, obviously. And so tell us where you're from, a little bit about your high school and prep school time, and maybe your first couple years here at Chipola, Dante.
Well, I'm from the Bronx, New York, as you guys know. I played Carolina Basketball Academy down in North Carolina. Had a good senior year, played well, and got recruited by one of my favorite coaches of all time, Donnie Tyndall.
Hold up, one of?
The best coach of all time, the best coach of all time. And he's taught me everything. He's helped me a lot grow as a human, grow as an athlete, and just how to just act in everyday life. But I had a really good time here at my times here at Chipola. Well, I've been here for 4 years, but it's been cool. Every single day just grinding and getting better, and that's just the moral of the story at Chipola. Get better every day.
And Dante's another guy that's had some tough luck with injuries his sophomore year. He was starting on our Final Four team, playing really, really well. We went out to Hutchinson, Kansas for the national tournament. In the first half of the first game, he lands awkwardly, tears his ACL, missed the rest of the national tournament, and I'll believe until the day I die that if Dante doesn't get hurt, we win the national championship that year. We still went to the Final Four, but I believe we win it all with him being healthy. So he sat out all last year as a redshirt and really, really worked on his body, changed his body, got some weight off him, increased his strength and his core strength, his athleticism, and Dante comes back, has a great summer, and then breaks his hand about a month ago. So he's got, about a week, 2 weeks left,
about
Dante?
a week left.
About a week left, and then he'll be back full go. So both these guys haven't even played with us in the preseason jamborees yet, but Dante mentioned he's from New York. Now, he says the Bronx, right, Dante? And we know a lot of tough guys come from the Bronx. So I mess with him a little bit and say he's probably more from the suburbs, like, I don't know, Waterbury, or is that Connecticut? I don't know.
That's Connecticut.
Yeah, okay, he's some suburb in New York. But do this, Dante. Tell our fans and viewers maybe one of the biggest changes when you move from a Bronx, New York to a Marietta, Florida.
Well, the biggest change is this fast pace how New York is. It's like you can go outside anytime and just get food. Out here, if you don't go outside by, I say 10 o'clock, you're not going to eat tonight. So it's a big change. It's a culture shock. That's what everybody says out here. But it's a big difference from the city, fast life, and then get into a slow Marietta. But it's cool out here, too. You can focus more out here. It's really a big difference, though, and I like it, though.
Yeah, well, and we talk about that in the recruiting spiel that we give. Here at Chipola, it's books and basketball. You're here to get your education and be locked in academically and to improve and grow as a basketball player, coupled with becoming a better person. So I think even though guys come from places, whether it's Savannah or Bronx, New York, wherever it happens to be, it's a good place to concentrate on your academics, and these guys have both done that. They'll both graduate this spring and be able to move on to good Division I programs. Now, both you guys are used to winning, right?
Yes,
you
sir.
won in high school for the most part. Your freshman year, as we mentioned, you play on a conference championship team, a team that's went 21-0 to start the season, ranked number 1 in the country. Dante's first 2 years, he plays in 2 Final Fours. What do you think, from your time being at Chipola, that you think is the most important thing either we do or that you've learned that impacts winning at a high level? Start with you, Dante.
So the first thing that just starts it off is we're on time for everything. We just have a good core to our group. Coach holds us accountable for everything. We don't shortcut nothing, and we work at it every single day. And I feel like that just reflects right to the basketball court, where you just have everything in check. You have everything. You have this, and that, and we just execute it as a team. We're coachable, and that reflects to the basketball court as well, because it's all going to fall in place. And like what Coach says all the time, he's not going to just get there. You're not going to just get there. You got to work at it so we could get to where we want to go to. And I feel like that reflects right on the basketball court as well.
Well, I think that's a great point. We talk all the time to our young men about there's a direct correlation in being on time for class, handling your business academically, being a great servant leader in the community, spending time with young people, whether it's signing autographs or taking pictures, and all those things carry over to the basketball floor, because now the discipline and the accountability is in place, and all those things, as you mentioned, Dante, are directly reflected on winning, or if you don't do those things, in losing, right? So those are good skills and life lessons these guys learn. What about you, Gerald? Give me 1 or 2 things you've learned that you think really impact winning in a big way.
Well, like you told me, handle yourself as a professional every day. You hold everybody accountable for everything that you do, and lead by example.
Yeah, and I think those are 2 things that we talk about daily, and this guy does both of those. He exemplifies everything we want our young guys to be. We talk about all the time, carry yourself like a professional, and that doesn't mean a pro basketball player. That means a CEO, a vice president, a business partner, a mayor, a governor, whatever it happens to be. Like, you have to carry yourself as a young professional to make the right impression on people. And then the next thing he mentions is lead by example. Some guys are vocal leaders, and that's great. We need some of those as well. But then some guys simply go about their daily task the right way every single day, and eventually the other people around them, his teammates, even assistant coaches, they notice that, and they start kind of falling into line and doing the same things. So 2 good young guys here. They're going to be successful in life no matter what they end up doing. And now I always give my guys a chance to ask me a question, so I'm sure you've thought this out and have some good ones. Dante, let's start with you. You got a question for Coach Tyndall?
A question I wanted to ask you is, how was film Monday?
Well, we had a jamboree this past Sunday. We did not play real well. Now, these guys didn't play in it. As I mentioned, they're hurt. We didn't play real well. I didn't think we played with some of the things we were just talking about. I don't think we played with discipline. And so we had to hold some guys accountable. So we had a film session Monday morning at 6 a.m. They had class at 9. I think it lasted right up till about 8:45. But I think we got some things covered, and it's going to be good for us long term. It maybe wasn't a lot of fun during that session, right? But we got some things worked out, had a good workout yesterday, and I think we'll have a great practice here today. So all lessons you got to keep learning. It's a daily grind and a process, as these guys have talked about, and Monday's film session was part of that. So how about you, Gerald?
I have to go with out of all the years that you've been here, like your first year here, how was it? Was a lot of pressure? How was it?
Yeah, I think this is my 4th year. We've won 3 Panhandle Conference championships, 2 state tournaments, been to 3 national tournaments with 2 Final Fours. So sounds like I'm bragging a little bit, but really 2 things with that. I'm just proud of what our players and coaches have accomplished. But secondly, I mentioned that to say the goal is still not achieved, right? We have a goal to win a national championship, and that's the goal again this year. And I've had 3 great teams with 3 great coaching staffs, 3 rosters that had tons of talent and Division I players, and so it's been a real joy, and I'm very prideful to be the head coach here at Chipola. And hopefully we can have another great year, get you guys back healthy, ready to go. And I wanted to mention before we end the show, we have 2 really important dates coming up. The 24th of October, we have what's called our Fan Jam. We couple up with the women's program and do some really neat things, dunk contest, 3-point contest. Each team will scrimmage a little bit. That's the 24th, Tuesday night at 6 p.m. And then our opening game is November 2nd against Reed State College here at the Milt, and that's a 7 p.m. tip-off. We hope you'll come out, support these guys, support our team. I think you'll enjoy the product that we put on the floor. Thanks for tuning in, and go Indians.